Welcome to Staying Uncomfortable. My name is Kyvin, and in this episode, I have an opportunity to sit down with Mark Bell, who is a powerlifter, a bodybuilder, and an entrepreneur. Mark has a gym in Sacramento, which is called Super Training, the strongest gym in the West. And what I've learned from Mark in this episode is about achieving greatness. How do you keep showing up each and every single day? And then how do you deal with anxiety and depression? I hope it's adds some kind of value into your life. You learn something and you can implement and become better at whatever your dream or whatever you're trying to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the show.
No one could concentrate. The judges, nobody could concentrate on what was going on.
So, one thing that I personally wanted to ask you, that there was a moment in your life where you were squatting and something had happened and changed your life, right? How does one come back from that? I can totally tell you, it's I've hit rock bottom but I can't even picture getting to that level and then really going through the whole entire struggle and coming back up and doing this all over again. How do you even prepare for that, man?
It's hard, I fell with 1,085 pounds on my back, almost 1,100 pounds. I squatted over 1,000 pounds many times in competition, and this particular contest, when I was going for this weight, I was squatting down and my one knee just shot in, the other knee shot out, and I hit the piece of equipment that is the squat rack, basically. It was something that came at a good time. I try to see the positive. I try not to be too negative, although we all bitch and complain, right? I mean, it's just part of being human. I try to be as positive as I can. I try to figure out, how does this help? How does this hurt? How do I move forward? I'm always thinking about, how do I just move forward? How do I literally put one foot in front of the other? Because that's a pretty easy concept to grasp and to think of. So yeah, I fall with this massive weight, and it was a huge problem. I was just in our recliner downstairs, and I couldn't even get up the stairs to where our bedroom was. And so my wife, she did the rollout, or she pulled the bed out of our rollout couch thing, and it was super close to each other. I mean, just 20 feet away, and it took me about 45 minutes just to get from that, chair all the way to the bed, And I was like that for several days. Legs were really swollen, ankle was really swollen. After about 6 or 7 days, I was in tremendous amounts of pain, but I still didn't think that I really broke anything. I didn't know what was going on. My ankle was very swollen, so possibly I did break something there. I went to a friend of mine who's not really a real doctor, and I went to him on purpose because I wanted to kind of control who was going to say what to me almost, And when I went to this guy, he basically said, I said, hey, should I get an MRI? And he said, compare it to what? He goes, you don't have anything to compare it to. And he goes, what would happen if you had an MRI before you fell? I was like, it'd probably show that I was messed up. He goes, yeah, and it was just going to show the same thing now. You're messed up. He's like, I don't think you broke anything. He said, I think you're going to be fine. And he did some acupuncture or something like that to me. Did some voodoo on me, and basically just gave me like a boost of confidence. Like, you're a big guy. You're going to be all right. You're going to be okay. He gave me a little pat on the back, and then I went to him a couple times, and he worked with me on a couple other things, but. I don't know. I don't have the mindset to stop or slow down. It's not in my nature. I want to keep going. I want to try to figure out how do I continue to progress? How do I continue to get better? And so from that point, when I fell, I was like, okay, boom, powerlifting's gone. I can't really do powerlifting the way that I knew it and the way that I loved it. Can't do it at that same intensity. But now what's available to me? And so that's how it changed my life. It started to open my eyes to, I was like, okay, it's time to lose some weight. It's time to get in better control of my health and to take my health into my own hands. I already have accumulated all this knowledge. It's time to drop weight. It's time to feel better. It's time to look better. And from that point is where I started working on being what I call jacked and tan.
Correct. And I remember watching one of your videos on that, and one thing that I clearly remember that you accepted it. You accepted it, and you said it's time to move on, and it's time to change the way I do things.
And it still sucks to accept it because it's weird. You know, I go to do a squat in the gym, and I'm squatting like 3 plates or 4 plates, and I hear the cheers of my my teammates. They're like, "Come on, Mark, you can do it," you know, and I'm like, this is so embarrassing that they're cheering me on for these weights that, you know, were still like warm-up weights for me. And it really is hard. It's frustrating. Still to this very day, it's hard not to want to pile those weights on there. That's what I love to do. For those of the people that are listening that just have something that they love to do, it may be to the detriment sometimes of their own health. Mm-hmm. Maybe you just love entrepreneurship and you're going to bed late and waking up early every day, and it's shaving years off your life. You're not even thinking about it. Yeah. Because you're working like this every day. You're not thinking about how stressed out you are and how you're burning the candle from both ends all the time. And so it gave me perspective. It made me just understand, hey, you know what you're doing is not healthy. And I veered, you know, that was several years ago, and I've veered off of that several times as well, where I've kind of gone back too far one way or the other. But right now, currently, I get my blood work done every 3 or 4 months. My blood gets better almost every single time. I'm trying to really make sure that I'm exercising, being healthier, being a healthier person, being a better person in general. Trying to be able to, I kind of have a philosophy of be more, become more. You know, the more that you do, the more you can do. The more that you do, the more that you can handle. If I just sit on the couch all day and you say, hey man, let's go for a run, I'd be like, oh my God. But if I was doing stuff all day and it was really active and you said, hey, let's run these 36 flights of stairs or whatever it is in this apartment complex, I'd be like, holy shit, that's going to suck, but yeah, I'm in. Let's go do it. So the more that you do, the more that you can handle. And I think more people need to grasp that. They need to understand that. At the same time, people need to take a nice deep breath here and there, and they need to try to slow themselves down because you can't do everything in one single day.
One last thing, and I'll stop there. I promise.
You can talk to me forever if you want.
I know you're a machine, a content-producing machine. How do you, when you look at your career and the journey that you've come across this far, how's your relationship has been with your parents in this whole entire thing? The reason why I started this show is to kind of tell people that it's okay to step outside your comfort zone and really excel and connect with people in life. But a lot of time when you're an entrepreneur, when you're trying to achieve greatness and motivate thousands and thousands of people, you have to make certain sacrifices in your life and you have to pick your battles, right? Right. And I'd love to just, hear from your point of view, like how this whole entire journey has been in terms of with your parents.
Somebody asked me not too long ago about, what it's like to make it. And I just laughed. I thought that was a really funny question. I was like, make it where? I've had my head down, and as I mentioned earlier, just one foot in front of the other. And I keep plowing forward. And then eventually people are telling me that I did something great. And I kind of get up and I'm like, oh, cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Okay, boom, right back to it, But one thing that happened that really has changed my life and changed the life of our children and changed my wife's life and everything is being able to, we bought my parents the house that's next door to our house. And that has been a really beautiful thing. My dad is my favorite person in the world. And he's one of my biggest fans. But I idolize my dad. My dad is my hero. And he's all of 5'2". He's short little Italian guy with a big belly. But he has a huge heart. It's hard to even put into words. When I think of greatness and I think of all the different things that I've done or things I've tried to do or things that people get all excited about for me, then I try to go back and I try to think of my dad, because people don't think he's great because they just don't know who he is. But he's still great. But he's not Michael Jordan, or he's not some of these people that we really emulate, or he's not somebody that everybody is aspiring to be.
Yeah.
He's not one of these beautiful people that's on TV or anything like that. He doesn't have this big Instagram following or anything. But can you sell someone like that short and say that they're not great? I say absolutely not. And what I've learned from him and what I've seen him do day in and day out, that's the most faithful person I've ever seen in my life.
They didn't even drink.
I remember as a teenage kid, I'd be like, all right, there's absolutely no way my dad's not staring at this girl. This girl's really hot, or this woman's really hot. He's going to turn his head. I'd be sitting in the car behind him, and I'd watch him, and he wouldn't do it. And I was like, shit, man, this guy's made of stone. You know, how does he do it? That's just the way he is. But being great isn't about doing something great. It's about being good for a really long period of time. That's what makes somebody great. It's consistency. Doing something for a really long time. If I just go to the gym and do one cardio session or something like that, that's not going to really do much of anything. Yeah. But if I do multiple cardio sessions, then maybe I can enjoy my Thanksgiving dinner and eat the stuffing and eat the dessert, and maybe it turned into something. Maybe the lifting weights that I did has turned into something. So I think that people have a kind of a skewed view of even what greatness is. I don't think greatness is a monetary thing. I don't think it's necessarily tied into your car. I think it's more tied into how you feel as a person and working on feeling better. And you're going to feel great, and you're going to feel like a machine if you're just trying to be good all the time. It's a lot easier than trying to be great.
Right.
Trying to be great is like a whole nother step. It's a whole nother level. But in order to even achieve that in the first place, you have to be good. And you have to be good consistently for a really long time. There's people that make it to the Hall of Fame in baseball, football, basketball, just from simply being good for a really long time. It's like, oh man, that guy did it for a long time. Next thing you know, that guy's writing his own check and he's in the Hall of Fame and everything else. And people are putting him on a pedestal and they're saying that he's great. And the guy's like, I was not even aware I did anything great.
I think that's when you know when you're having fun in life and when you're just enjoying purely what you're doing. And, you know, one thing I just want, Mark, for you to do is, you know, whenever anybody's watching this, however, whatever avenue where they're watching is, you know, the reason why I started is that I personally had to fight through depression when I hit rock bottom January 2nd of this year, where I recorded of myself literally just sobbing and crying and telling myself that this is the person you are because you put yourself there.
Right.
And you're the only one person that can push yourself out of this and start doing better and greater things in life. And, you know, what would the one message that anybody who's watching this, you know, through depression, addiction, anything that comes across, what's that one message you want to leave for our audience here today?
Two things. Having a brother, you know, that passed away from addiction, depression, I mean, pretty much everything. And then having almost another brother die from those same circumstances.
I get phone calls a lot and you're excited.
I would say, as the person who's maybe addicted, reach out, you know. You don't have to try to be tough. You don't have to try to be strong. You know, you don't have to try to do any of these things. There are people that can help you. You can get help. So that would be number one. But that's really hard for people to do.
Yeah.
That's really, really difficult for people to do. On the other side of it, and this is probably more important, is anybody that knows anybody like that, just reach out. Yeah, like I know that some of the people that are listening to this now know they know somebody, and you try to push those feelings away, and you try to pretend that it's not happening, or try to pretend that your buddy doesn't have a drinking problem because you don't want to open up that can of worms. I feel that way a lot of times because I've already dealt with it. I've already dealt with my brother passing away, and my other brother Chris was addicted to alcohol, and I mean it is an evil thing, and depression is a real thing.
Really?
I think that people don't think depression exists. I think people are like, dude, snap out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, there's a chemical imbalance that's going on. Somebody is actually sick. It's a disease, and some people get it very severely. And so I think just more people just need to try to reach out. You need to try to reach out. You need to try to help some of those people that are. I know that everyone knows somebody like that,
oh, yeah.
and you just need to lend a hand. My wife and I, my beautiful wife Andy, I'm very fortunate. Just she is an awesome person, and she is the glue that holds the whole entire family together. It's actually really amazing to watch when we go to Thanksgiving. We all go together. We travel and we get a house together, and there's 4 or 5 of different parts of our family that come, and there's, I don't know, 15, 20 people. But she's kind of the one that organizes and orchestrates a lot of that stuff. Even just regular parties that we have, she synchronizes and gets a lot of those things together. But when my brother was going through these problems, I got a call from his girlfriend, and she was saying, how messed up he was and everything. And I told Andy, I was like, we got to do something right away. I mean, I don't know, my brother Mike passed, and I don't want this to happen again. I'm like, but it's just a lot of weight, She's like, well, let's just figure out, let's just get him up here, So we flew him he lived in Los Angeles. We flew him to Sacramento, got him to a detox center. He went there for 5 days, and the process was not easy. All the stuff's very hard. When we sent him to the detox center, he didn't remember a lot of the stuff we discussed with him. We had like an intervention with him and stuff.
And Daddy grabbed me
He
and
barely
he
remembered
said,
the last 2
Michael,
years of his life because he was so depressed and so high and drunk and everything else. It was a really wild ride, but over a period of time, the family came around, the family came together. My parents came together. Everyone got stronger in that process. We all communicated more. We asked my brother, like, how do we help? What can we do? And he said, I feel all alone in LA. I'm lonely, And we're like, shit, we didn't know that. No one ever said it.
Yeah.
What guy is going to tell you that they're lonely?
Nobody.
It's not a guy thing, right?
No,
like maybe even some women are fearful of saying it, but I know being a man that it's like just not something hey man, hey dude, you hurt my feelings. Like I'm not going to tell you that.
No.
Right?
It's a guy thing.
We're too tough, we're too strong or whatever. So we were able to come around him and we're able to help him, and maybe somebody that's listening to this right now, maybe they can reach out to somebody and maybe they can help. And maybe they can make a great impact. My brother's doing really well. He's 3 years sober. He and I are actually working on a movie together right now, which I'm super excited about. And he's happy. He's doing really well. He's healthy. He's got his health under control. And I just feel really fortunate. Yeah.
Well, Mark, I just want to say, well, first of all, thank you for being here. And you've been really like changing people's lives. And after I got to know you and heard about you, I was like so stoked that I couldn't even sleep last night. Like literally, I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got up at 5 o'clock to go make smoothies. And I was just the whole entire time I'm thinking
I
about.
love that you make smoothies, by the way. That's my favorite part of the whole story today.
And the whole entire time I'm thinking like, man, like, what am I going to ask him? How am I going to get the most knowledge out of you? And you're really changing and shaping how entrepreneurship and how do you excel in life and achieve greatness. And I'm so privileged to learn it from you in firsthand, and I would love for you to leave a mark on my amazing wall.
Oh, absolutely.
That is going to be coming with me anywhere that I go.
Awesome,
So,
I got you.
Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate it. I appreciate every single thing that you're doing, even indirectly, not even knowing you are, and seeing how impactful you're trying to achieve in just the world, and trying to share this amazing message to people that anything is possible and just go for it.
Right.
And Slingshot, I can't wait to try it. So thank you, Mark, honestly.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.